Euro 2024, Group A, Scotland 0, Hungary 1. Scotland are officially eliminated in Group A, and from Euro 2024, Hungary in limbo now with 3 points. Where to start? So, I think from Scotland's point of view, it's a massive letdown. I feel like not bringing Taylor on, assuming Robertson went off with injury, is a really strange decision by Steve Clarke, because by such a usually overtly conservative manager, and it's arguable that that may have lost Scotland the game, because if you want to bring Morgan on, fair enough, but keep the shape, bring him on instead of Armstrong, and I just think it was a bad decision. This was a managerial bottle job by Steve Clarke. He was way out of his depth. I think the substitutions were just wrong in this match. But it's not particularly shocking considering the relatively toothless attacking performance over the entire tournament. I mean, I don't understand why Che Adams is starting every match. He's dreadful. He offers nothing to this team. And I think Clarke was going for continuity rather than putting Shankland on, since Adams is weak. I'm not saying Shankland would have won Scotland the game necessarily, but he looked brighter than Adams whenever he came on. Having said that, for most of the first half, I thought Scotland were the better side because they were actually putting in lots of effort going forward, trying to generate something. Hungary looked flat-footed and slow. It was not the best first 45 minutes of football, but I actually thought Scotland were marginally the better team during that period. And I feel like there are flashes here and there of a team that is promising, that can build upon more than just being a sturdy, rigid side to put down that relies on the collective effort, because that's not enough, because the quality is surely lacking. The absolute number one priority for Scotland has to be scouting for a proper striker. Relying on your midfield and your left back to make chances does not equal round of 16 caliber. There has to be someone with the inkling of a player that can attack a box better than Che Adams can. Now, obviously, there's an alternate timeline where the penalty for Scotland is given and there's a different result, but this game really, I feel, like showed deeper issues at the heart of where this team is right now that will take time to fix. And as the game went on, Scotland really needed to throw players forward ahead to score, and there were moments where they weren't doing that, but then there were moments when they were doing that, and it's just, you could see there was a real limitation in this squad. And I don't want to sound condescending, but the lack of quality, I think, is worthy of sympathy. I sort of feel sorry for this team. A great deal many of amateurish mistakes, losing the ball on the counterattacks by running straight into opponents, couldn't even make a 3-meter pass at some sequences. As soon as they reached the box, they had what seemed like a brain freeze moment and couldn't even pass or shoot. It was infuriating to see from a neutral standpoint. It's just it's a gut punch for Scotland, especially that end, that goal through Kevin, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, Kevin Sloboth. Absolute scenes, but the thing is, that goal was a result of a Scottish mistake. When Scotland had that corner, when they had the cross into the box, there was a chance right at the end before Hungary collected the ball and went on the break for that Hail Mary goal, where I believe it was McGregor, he chests a cross down instead of giving it an attempt on goal, instead of just heading it. You never know what can happen. Maybe he puts it wide, maybe he puts it high. Okay, maybe you argue there wasn't enough pace, energy on that ball, but at least give it a go. But what he does instead is he chests it down and he tries to strike it with 4 Hungarian defenders in front of him. It was always going to be cleared out. It was always going to lead to a counterattack. And then look what happened. Hungary score as a result of it. And I feel like when Hungary went on the break in those last seconds, Morgan absolutely has to commit the foul to stop the counter, but he fails to do so, and he also fails to mark properly at the end of the attack. And it's just like, just draw the foul. Even if you get inside your own end, inside your own box, and you have to bring the Hungarian player down to draw a penalty, you absolutely do it. Now, for Hungary, I'm not going to let them off the hook. I think they deserve to win. At least when they attacked, they showed some ability to take a shot, even if they were usually wayward from long distance. Scotland really couldn't get a shot on target until added time in the third game of the tournament. That's really bad. But I thought this was Sobo's best game so far, albeit it wasn't a very high bar. He was very poor in the first two games, especially in that opener with Switzerland, and he looked like he was saving himself for bigger moments. This game, he looked better and much more involved, especially in the second half. I still think Hungary looked really poor in the first half, though. It looked like this was headed for a very dire scoreless draw that would eliminate both teams more or less. But Sabolazai, he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, to be honest. It's quite obvious that he's trying to force it at times, and he created like the best 2 out of 3 chances before the eventual goal. So where Hungary capitalized was on their superior dribbling ability and their superior quality to Scotland, both, I think, on set pieces looking a bit more dangerous, as well as going on the break, especially utilizing the wings to expose Scotland's lack of pace in that position. But Hungary did sit in for the first 20 minutes, and Scotland looked quite blunt in terms of getting the ball forward. I can't believe that Steve Clark stuck with the 3-4-3, but I don't want to go back to Scotland again because there's a lot to criticize for Scotland. But for Hungary, I just hope that Barnabas Varga is not too badly injured. He took a knocking. It looks like he had a collision with Angus Gunn, the Scottish goalkeeper. It looked bad. It was giving us flashes of Christian Eriksen from Euro 2020. I hope he's going to be okay, but it looked like he was knocked unconscious. Whether that played a role in the game or how the game ended, I have no idea, but it looked bad. So we're hoping that Barnabas Varga is okay. We'll see any news coming out from there. Hungary, I predicted them to finish third in this group because I felt like maybe they were being pegged as a dark horse by too many people. However, I will say this. This is still a team that can punch above its weight. It plays to the level of the opponent. They did not look bad against Germany at all. In competitions prior to this Euros, Hungary were going toe-to-toe with teams like Italy and Germany and England in the Nations League. If they go through, which is possible with 3 points, even though it's not a great goal difference, if they go through, we have to remember something now. The group stages do not matter anymore. The slate is wiped clean. They have been washed of their hands of it. Do not underestimate them for the round of 16 if they manage to squeeze through, because they are still a dangerous side.